You said something about state governors being chief security officers and that they should take responsibility for security in their various states. Are we looking at a constitutional amendment that decentralizes the police or all the security agencies as well?
You don't really need to decentralize the police for state governors to succeed.
You already know the arguments that exist.
But those arguments have always been there. We had the state police in the Second Republic. I mean, the First Republic, up to 1966, there were regional police forces. They were deployed in ways that everybody was very sensitive. The way they deployed them in elections, they deployed them in politics. And if you look at the level of look at Boko Haram.
In the face of this new
Boko Haram grew from a cell of thugs that was grown in Borno State to fight political opponents. If you look at Niger Delta the militancy, it grew also sometimes from political thugs that were being recruited for elections. So people are very worried about how a state police will be used. So there was Bakassi boys, in Anambra State.
Social groups will always
listen. Yeah, there was Bakassi boys set up in Anambra State, but it was deployed, towards harassing opponents, and also some of them became criminals, and that's why it was stopped. So I think we need this present police. Presently, every police commissioner in every state knows.
But you know that in the states, that's not the way it works.
No, but
you can have state police, you can have federal police who, of course, they can always come in if they see something going on wrong.
Exactly.
We can't predicate an action based on that if they can use it wrongly.
We are looking at the maturity levels of our democracy, of our federation. Nobody will not want a state police that works well, that treats citizens fairly, that is not misused, against communities. We would like that. But the point is, we have tried it in the First Republic. It didn't quite work.
Mr. Maku,
excuse me. Can I just make the point before you come in? So what we are looking at is this. Presently, a police commissioner is under the call of the governor. The police deployed in every state are under the call of state governors. But over and above this, security isn't just the presence of the police. My perception of security by governor or a local government chairman is that constantly he and all his community leaders and stakeholders are meeting, because the real security in communities is done by the community themselves. You can get village heads, you can get community leaders, you can get traditional rulers, you can get all the imams and pastors, create security awareness meetings that go on every month, and then they report back to you.
That's absolutely very important.
Because where there is a problem in any community, they quickly report. They don't wait until there's an outbreak of violence.
Just allow me to chip in this, you just reacted to this. Sorry to go on again. Because now you talk about all those community relations. Definitely, I'm quite sure the way you see them, you deal with them on a daily basis, you would understand, you can feel it and see it in their faces and their actions that they really want to help the government in solving all of this. But has the government been thinking of having a toll-free line, which is like maybe a short code for an emergency number for anyone to call in? For instance, you see anything, if I don't want to go to the police station, is there a number that the country has provided for the citizens that we can, off the cuff, dial this number, maybe 111, 3 digits, so that you can just put it in memory?
In fact, the NCC and the Universal Service Provisions Fund in the last 5 years have built communication centers for emergency calls. There are also numbers in some of the telecom companies where people can call. In my ministry, in fact, my line is now, we announced it on television, on radio, for anybody who has a call to me. We receive a lot of reports. So there are lines in the police, in the State Security Service, in the NCC or Nigerian Communications Commission, through the USPF, for citizens to call. Now, the point I'm making here is that relationship is at different levels. I think in the past, maybe because our democracy is new, people thought that security means you have a police. It does not involve citizens. The citizens are the first line of security, because it is it's their conduct, their behavior, their sensitivity to the environment that will give them security. And that is why I'm saying I was in Nasarawa State as deputy governor at a point, and commissioner for information and internal affairs. We had a big problem in Nasarawa State in 2001, where there were these riots between communities, between the Fulanis and the thieves. I was one of those that centrally managed it. We had to create awareness at different levels, call traditional rulers. Look, if there is problem in your community, we'll first hold you responsible, because you cannot be a traditional. I know that in the north, for example, all imams are under the call of traditional rulers. Every imam, every preacher, pastors, all of them, they're under their communities. So what we need is constant at that level for every state government to make sure that in all the 19 northern states, because it's nothing to say because it's only in Bruno, it can't go to elsewhere. It's not so. We must cordon off and make sure that constantly governors are calling their communities monthly and at local government level weekly. Hey, what's happened in your community last week? Give us a report. Now, if we have that kind of report that concerns the movements of strangers and even community members whose conduct becomes a problem, they'll be monitored and we can contain this problem.
What kind of response, Mr. Minister, do you have with those who are, sorry to butt in there, with the emergency lines? What kind of response do you have? Are they calling it more?
Well, I cannot here speak on that because I'm not in charge of those records every day. But I believe in my ministry, we've had a lot of calls, suggestions. People bring them and we forward them.
Because
we
have
very,
reports. Very important.
Yes, we also have reports of strangers, of meetings, of strategies. They keep coming in and we share them with the security. We forward them. Even yesterday, I was discussing one about a development, in one of our airports where some strangers came in and just left. We're also looking into that. So people are having more and more confidence. And one thing I also want to tell Nigerians, and yesterday I spoke to several news agencies, there is no war between Christians and Muslims in Nigeria. What we have is a terror group, an evil group that pronounces the name of Islam, but we do know that they are not speaking on behalf of Muslims. Everywhere in the world it's been the same. So we need more unity now between Christians and Muslims, because their purpose is to defeat our solidarity. Because if they strike and they succeed, then they will be seen as representing a group. They don't. So we will suffer losses here and there, definitely.
Okay.
But the sacrifice of building a nation is that citizens must appreciate when they are in time of emergencies, they come together.
Sorry, we have to always butt in every now and then.
Yes,
we have so many questions coming in from our viewers. They're just concerned. They want to know so many things.
Yes.
We have a Jaffa who asks, do we have a national terrorism advisory system? If no, why not?
We do have. We do have. Within the security system, the president has different layers of advisors and councils of meetings. Apart from the National Security Council, which is the first advisory system for the president to take decisions, there are other layers of decision making. Between him, the Council of State with governors, at different levels there are meetings that sieve information onto the presidency. So we do have them. And I keep making the point, let's not panic. Because terror wants to create panic. Let's not panic. And again, also sometimes when I see some of our media reports, they tend to give the impression sometimes that nothing is being done. A lot of arrests are being made. We know that on a weekly basis, these guys are being picked up by security forces. They are being picked up on a weekly basis. Arrests are being made. We are detecting them. We are monitoring their communication lines. We are discovering where they are. We are picking them up. Yes, we may not pick all of them up on the same day, the same month, but definitely there is a greater capacity now, and a number of them are being arrested. So I don't want a situation in which, and we cannot on daily basis share some security strategies. I was going to
ask that, would it then be a bad idea to tell Nigerians, well, arrest has been made, would it be too cumbersome?
Good, but most of the time, the state security services and the police public relations officer make announcements. But also, because of the nature of our society, there are certain things that are not very advisable to share. That is the point. So, there are certain things that are not advisable to share. But a lot of work and a lot of arrests have been made. And I think that Nigerians should appreciate that our security forces may not now be performing at their optimum. But I cannot tell you that these guys are working.
Well, some Nigerians watching outside the country, specifically in the United States of America, Ejiofor is watching, and he's just sent in a message that we should ask you to explain why Public Safety Answering Point, that is PSAP, is not set up at least in every region of the country. That will help the citizens.
Well, okay, fine. We are in this thing for the first time. Our nation never witnessed this. We never thought that there would be Nigerians who would just go on a killing spree, who will simply enter a church and kill people, go to a market and burn it down without any provocation. We just see strangers and kill them. It's a new phase in our national life. So some of these new suggestions that are coming in are not coming in the light of where we are in. So we will implement some of those things. That's what we need. We're talking about citizenship cooperation. This call came from the US.
Yes, from the US.
It's an important call. These are some of the ideas that we will require and pass them on to various security agencies and layers of government to establish them. So a lot of these issues will come in the course of fighting terror.